I do like the quick, cheap and simple ways to improve patient care. Hello and welcome to this week's Urgent Bite, brought to you by the Royal New Zealand College of Urgent Care. My name is Guy Melrose, and today we bring you a little trick that helps convey important information to the people who'll be following up on the wounds that we see in urgent care. Please excuse the croakiness in my voice this week. I'm just getting over a little viral urti. Whilst browsing medical Twitter, I was drawn to a tweet made by Dr. Rob Gregg, an ED consultant on the beautiful Channel Island of Jersey. He was replying to a thread discussing simple, MacGyver-type tricks of the trade, and he posted a picture of a dressing placed over a pre-tibial flap laceration. Now, you may remember from some of our earlier podcasts, we had the Nurses Station, where we looked at urgent care relevant nursing topics with nurse practitioner Amor Kisling. That segment has been on hiatus since Amor left New Zealand to work in a rural hospital in Australia. But after mentioning this tweet to her, she told me that it is something she has been using with great success. So it's for pre-tibial wounds where we've generally, particularly in elderly people, you're steri-stripping those wounds for a flap-like wound, but it could be a flap wound anywhere, I guess. And what this person had done has drawn the shape of the flap in a felt tip pen, a sharpie type pen, on the wound, on the dressing, so that you know what the shape of the flap is, and then the arrow is indicating which way you're meant to remove the dressing. The idea being, I guess, that you're pulling with the wound rather than against it, so you're not going to reopen the flap. And I've never seen this before, but you've seen it before on dressings, or you've used it before.
Yeah, it's a really good thing, especially so urgent care and emergency departments. You know, we sort of see someone once off, and then someone else needs to follow them up. But I've done quite a few of these actually when I send patients to, especially district nurses, so that they know what the wound looks like and which direction it needs to be pulled off, especially if I wanted to stay on for a couple of days or if there's steri strips involved. It just makes it easier. It improves the wound healing. You won't disturb the wound bed if you remove it the right way, and it's just better for the patients. Yeah.
So it's simple. I think people probably will have seen this with intravenous cannula dressings. People write the date that's been inserted on those, and you can certainly write the date on dressings when you're maybe putting that kind of Acticoat type silver dressings for burns that may stay on for a few days. You can put the date that they're due to be taken off or the date that they will put on. But it's, as you say, a really good method of communication when people are being seen elsewhere. And it may be that they're being seen in your clinic again, but it will be a totally different set of staff and a totally different doctor and nurse team assessing it. So the drawing is a really simple diagram, shows the wound and shows the direction to pull, so you're not undoing all of the previous day's good work. So if people have Twitter, if you go to @RNZCUC, you will see the retweet with the picture that describes this. If you don't have Twitter, you can go to the college's website and click on the little button that looks like a bird in the top corner, and that takes you to our Twitter page, so you can actually see the tweets even if you don't have Twitter. If you in the future keep a Sharpie with your dressing trolley, and you can draw the shape of the wound and the direction that you would want that wound, that dressing taken off, it will prevent undoing all your good work. And
it's also good, especially with the elderly, if you send them home, to say to them, only take it off on this day and pull it down in this direction. Sometimes they don't need a review, but you're quite happy for them to take it off themselves, in 2 or 3 days. it's just a good reminder for them as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's not just for district nurses or for GP nurses or for other staff. It could be for people at home doing self-dressings so that they know how it is, and you could even put the number of stitches on there as a reminder for people, or all sorts of information can be conveyed with a simple sharpie pen on top of the dressing. So I thought it was a really neat little tip, and I'd never seen it before, but then you obviously have, so you've maybe they do things differently in Australia. So yes, thank you for talking us through that, and we will catch up with Amor in a future podcast.
It's all good. Welcome.
My thanks to Amor for discussing this little trick of the trade, and thanks also to Dr. Greg for sharing it via Twitter. He posted a few other little gems which we will look at in future podcasts too. If you have any comments, suggestions, questions or corrections, email podcast@rnzcuc.org.nz. And do please follow the college on Twitter if you can. We'll be back again next week with another podcast. I look forward to seeing you all then, but for now, thanks for listening.